All right, everyone. So happy we're back together again. And I'll say the Coca-Cola thing was pretty interesting. So there were a couple of questions that I would love to talk about with y'all. So the first question that we have is, what do we think about the new logo? And on top of that, which one do we prefer? So I guess Nathan, you want to start off?
Yeah, so I actually do prefer the new logo a lot better. The reason for that is because when I look at the old logo, it looks very plain and just boring. Like if I was watching a TV show and they were just trying to have an unlogoed pop can,
Yeah,
that's what that looks like.
I
That's what the
remember
logo
that.
looks like. So it's
No,
very like I don't like the blue color of the old one. The new one looks just a lot better, a lot more professional.
yeah.
So yeah.
So actually, Brian, I think you had a differing opinion on the new logo, right? Like you prefer the older one.
Yeah, I just don't like how it I don't know. I like the old one because, you know,
It's just
sometimes
more
news
up
not
to par.
better. Yeah. Sometimes news not better.
No.
You know? Sometimes you
Mm,
just got to stick with what's better. Stick with what's old, you
If
know?
it ain't
so
broke,
what you're
don't
trying to
fix
so
it.
what
Exactly.
So my
Yep.
question is, so what's wrong with being, well, modern in a way? Like, what's wrong with updating it? Is my question. And now, not that I disagree, not that I completely disagree with you, but I like both. But if I had to pick between which one to go with, in my honest opinion, I'd be the guy, with Nathan over here. I like the new style. I mean, and also I dig the old one. But if I had to pick between either one, it'd probably be the new one, just because the old one, like Nathan said, to me it's just a little bland. Now it's iconic as hell. I agree, but the new one, it's just like, have you guys seen like the old logo? Like it looks semi similar to the new one, but like they updated it in a way. But I have many more opinions that are not, that are, I don't want to say just because it'd be too long of a conversation. But Josh, you want to add on the opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the new one. I think I like it feels more equal in the logo compared to the old one. The white's very small in the old logo, so it just gives that form of equal amongst all the colors that it has. It's more linear across the entire way. It has a nice horizontal feel to it. And then the logo is actually, or the words are inside the logo, which I think is better too. And it's a bigger logo. It's easier to see on a can from distance or from close up. Um, and it really, I think too, even like for speaking to and like a national, nationalism side, like it's the red, white, and blue, right?
Yeah.
And it's all equal amongst it on the logo. So I don't know, it kind of speaks to that too. So I do like the new logo. I think it looks really good, but it is sad to see tradition go. So that's probably my only con that I would have for the new logo.
Yeah, and
So
to get on top of you with the whole con thing, there were a lot of negative comments said about this logo, and I'm sure a lot more than that were preferred. But like some of the basic ones were, I prefer the 2000s logo. It doesn't beat the 2000s logo, but it's a modest improvement, and I semi agree with that. And I'm sure Brianna is going to agree with that exponentially, but I'm more on the positive side. Like one of the comments was, "I'm digging this with this rebrand. I can't wait for the new look." And well, we obviously have it now. It's pretty present, but um, I don't know. Like
yeah,
I like.
so I think
Go
that
ahead.
the one thing I probably don't like about it is I know they were really like used to like the lowercase Pepsi was like their
Yes,
thing. It was all
yes.
lowercase, and then they went to like I'm looking at it over here. It's like all capitalized Pepsi. It would look weird if it was lowercase Pepsi, that big font inside of the circle, but I don't know, I kind of wish maybe one thing if I could make like correct it is the Pepsi like the word maybe if it flowed with the flow of the red and blue kind of like a wave because that's what I always thought the old logo here the red white and blue was like a wave type of thing and they kind of made it more flat and like you said linear. I
Yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
it would have been kind of nice if the Pepsi the word the
And does
name
and I
was
don't think,
reversed.
I mean, this doesn't relate to that, but does well, semi, does Coca Cola do that, or is it just like the same thing where
Uh,
they just have the logo and it's just there? But I forget. Is it like that?
um, I think it is. If I remember, I can look it up real quick.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not very familiar with how they design their logos, but I do agree. Like, I think that, and I'm going to go to the old logo to talk about it here. I think the old one, like it being a little too simple, like, and you were saying how it should just go with the flow. I think that would have made it spot on a lot more than it is now, and I think the updated one is kind of up there as well. But I mean, Jeff, do you have any points you want to make on that?
Well, I didn't like particularly dislike either of them. I thought they both looked pretty good. Obviously, the old one has more of that retro classic look to it. With that new logo, they're going for more of that modern, like bold, different look to it. They're trying to change it up. They're trying to make it stand out. I don't think it looks bad.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it looks solid. It's a real bold move for them to switch up the design like that. But I respect it. I think it takes a lot of it kind of takes a lot of courage from such an old school brand like that to make a big change.
I think it's one of the oldest. I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, it's like between them, Coke and Dr. Pepper, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, to change their logo to such a drastic degree, it's I think it's a good decision for the brand overall. I think it looks good, and I think it's a bold move.
All right. Well, hey, all valid points, and obviously we had some controversy. Well, but regardless, all great points. Now the next question: do we think that the logo matters in terms of like a sales or like a brand health? Like, do we think it helps improve it all that much? Because I think it does, but I'm sure we're gonna have some differing opinions here. So, Josh, do you want to start off with that?
Yeah, I was reading some of these negative comments again just to refresh myself, and one of them was, it looks like a gas station logo, and it's like I can't unsee it now. I looked up older gas station logo, I just can't unsee it. But yeah, I think, I don't know, like in terms of this design switch that it has, I don't think it's going to affect the sales of Pepsi. I mean, it's the
Pepsi's too big of a company.
It's still 90% the same logo. It's not like they completely drastically changed what they were doing. It's just it's a small tweak. It's unifying it, and I don't think you're going to see much of a change. Like, even when you're reading most of these comments, they're just like, people like the 2000 version, but it's not like it's a make it or break it thing. Like, they're like, it's still Pepsi, and they're still going to be fighting against Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
for
well,
sales.
yeah, for eternity, until they somehow go under, which will be a never. So, but I mean, like, the only way it'd be controversy is if Pepsi's like, hey, our main flavors now taste kind of like Sprite rather than Pepsi. Like, yeah, and hey, you're just gonna have to deal with it. And here's a brand new logo to showcase it. Like no, like they're gonna remain regardless of whatever kind of change comes amongst them. So, but
Also,
yeah, Nathan, do
to
you
add
want
on
to
that,
continue?
I think like brands always tend to change their logo like every 10 years, just as like a marketing stunt or marketing in general to keep, they're always changing it. So
Well, I
I
would say
think around
Apple's
this
probably
time,
the biggest exception to that. They've had the same logo for like 40 years. So,
okay.
but no,
Yeah.
fair point.
Because like I feel like if I had to guess around this time, I mean you had all their different types of, because Pepsi has like Mountain Dew and I think Fanta too, all these different times. And
PepsiCo.
Mountain Dew.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Fanta's part of Pepsi. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Mhm. And I remember their logos changed a bunch of times, so it could just be the way they like to do their business. But one another point is I'm looking here at the color scheme. I think by the looks of it, because when you get condensation water on the can, they always do that in advertisements, and it pops more. I think the color scheme they used for the background would be just is more when it gets condensation on it, it's more like attractive to the person buying it rather than that flat dull blue they had.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's just kind of a marketing point I noticed.
And that's I agree, and I get, yeah, I agree with that. That's very valid point. So I guess, Brianna, do you want to make any points on that? Do you want to debate on that? I guess.
Um, the dark color of the background definitely is, um, to make, the cans pop more, and changing, the logo isn't really going to have any, decline in the brand health because, like you said, it's not like they're changing the taste.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not like people are going to stop buying it just because they changed the logo a little bit. And it's not such a drastic change. And they just made it more modern. It's
Yeah.
not anything crazy.
I
Yeah,
mean,
think the only
it may
time
not
you
have
really
been with
get into like changing the sales and the brand on that, like I think it was Pepsi that did it. They were trying to appeal, like they did diet for women, like that was diet Pepsi, and it was making more sales because it was appealing to women. And then they tried to launch like a male brand of diet, and males weren't buying it because they didn't want to buy into that whole like diet thing.
yeah. How
So
dare
then
they
they
produce
launched
this
then they
diet
launched
BS?
zero
Like, why?
sugar or zero like that. They launched the zero brand, and that was where males were
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'll buy that more. So I think a logo change, especially the minimalistic logo change they did, it's not going to affect brand sales. But if they were to change the wording of if it's a diet or if it's zero sugar or if it's like more those type of words and the flavor, that's where it's really going to be a drastic change if someone's going to buy it or not. But this logo is not changed enough to really
Yeah,
stimulate
did
change
too
in
much.
consumers.
I think it could probably help with younger generations because people who like maybe somehow haven't seen Pepsi. Maybe they're like growing up, they're like 3, 4, 5 right now, and never had Pepsi. They're younger kids. I think they really would just want to put Pepsi in the logo, like the
Yeah, yeah,
name
yeah.
in the logo.
I mean,
I think that
I'll
was
be
the
honest, like
thing.
I wouldn't be too surprised if like they like 10 more years or whatever from now they put Pepsi and then they in like around it they had like a box or something in the Pepsi colors and then they still had the circle to showcase like hey, it's still like the traditional logo, but like I guarantee like 30 years from now when we're, century, whatever, super old, we're going to be like, you remember back in the day when Pepsi was just simple and bold and now they've just got, terrible logos these days, but sorry, I'm an oldie, but um, anyway, as usual, we all have very valid points. I mean, Jeff, is there anything you want to add on?
Well, yeah, I think overall the logo really matters because it's oftentimes a lot of people's first impressions with the brand are based upon that logo,
Yeah, because
and it
there are
can
people like me that want to judge a book by its cover and not, taste it before judging. So
right, right, and a good logo can it can create a lot of like positive like associations and thoughts about the brand overall. But in this case, yeah, it's not a super drastic change overall to the look of the logo. It's not like they're making the can green or something. So it's just more of like a modernized look for what they've been doing for the past 100 years or whatever.
yeah, centuries and centuries of work, but anyway. But yeah, all great valid points and pretty diverse opinions here, like always. But anyway, the third question. So the media release mentions a few reasons and benefits of this new design that we clearly have controversy towards. So which of these are real and tangible? So like, I guess how do we want to get started on that?
Well, I mean, I could start here. So
All right. Well, what do you got, Nathan?
I'm reading some of these media ones here. Some things that kind of stand out to me is they mentioned their signature Pepsi Pulse, and that's kind of showcased in the video there that was in the assignment.
Yeah.
I think they really added this. I'm gonna signature Pulse, like a new kind of like reinventing, making the brand come back alive because
Yeah,
honestly, it
because
just seemed kind of
we all know how dead Pepsi was according to the video.
yeah. So I mean, if you you got to compare it to other cans. Like Coca-Cola was doing things, even though, Mountain Dew, even though it's owned by the same company, but that
Yeah.
brand was like big and bold, and Pepsi's was all lowercase and just kind of like not very like aggressive to the consumer. It was just kind of very calm and honestly just kind of boring to me.
Yeah,
So I think that's why they
and by the
wanted
way,
to
and
give
kind of to
new
talk
life.
about like the classic style brands, like, and this isn't Pepsi related, but what I did notice is who remembers back when the Coke cans, like, just pretend like this is the Coke can, the logo was in the middle. Now it's more towards the top. Like, am I the only one that noticed that? Like I could have sworn that that's a new thing. Again, I could be wrong. Probably am. But did anyone else notice that at all?
I didn't.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not the only one. And on top of that, who remembers like the classic Mountain Dew logo? Like I can't be the only one. I can't be the only oldie here.
Yeah,
But you
I
know.
remember it.
Yeah. Anyways, you know, Josh, you want to continue on those points? Josh,
You're
your
muted.
microphone's off.
Sorry, my
Hey,
apologies,
we're all
everybody.
tired. I'm with you on that one.
No, I think this media release, really, there's not
So,
many.
you got this,
tangibles
Josh?
That year. Yeah, there's not many tangibles you're taking out of it. I mean, it's a lot of just pizzazz words and pop, and
Yeah,
it's relatively ineffective. I mean, sure, they're talking about the signature Pepsi Pulse because I know they've done a lot of music ads in the past where that was kind of their thing. They're trying to target concerts and stuff like that, but sure, they're bringing that alive through their logo. But when if I'm a consumer just looking at this, I'm just thinking more of red, white, and blue, like nationalism and streamlining, making everything equal in itself on the logo. I'm not looking back to Pepsi's energy and rhythm. And
Yeah.
even I think to Nathan's point, you said like it. I think it was you, but that younger kids, it might just be getting them a more simplistic logo with Pepsi in the middle.
Yeah.
If that truly is potentially a goal of Pepsi, none of this really matters because they're just talking about something that's a legacy, and kids that are that young aren't even going to know this legacy.
Yeah.
Realistically, a lot of this media release, they're talking about legacy, but they're removing the legacy of the logo because they're redesigning the legacy. So
Yeah.
there isn't really any tangibles I can see. I feel like it's all ineffective, and it's words, and it's just trying to justify why they changed it. It's like a CEO was just like, you know what, I don't really like our logo anymore. Let's redesign it and make it look different.
Yeah, trying to give reasons to why they put millions into this new logo.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to justify it to themselves. Like, this is why we did it, and this is all the good reasons why. And they're just trying to like convince themselves when maybe they're worried about the public's view.
Yeah. And funny you say that. That was actually one of the comments, like I know on the cons side, because there were a lot more cons than you know, positives. Like one of the comments was like, why change a good thing? Have you not learned? Change is not always better. And I'm like, well, there is some truth to that, but at the same time, I think that, and kind of what you were saying, like change, I think helps, but it also can affect the company, you know, negatively. And we all know pretty well that Pepsi is way too big of a company for this to really, you know, plummet its sales. I mean, like, how many billions of dollars is Pepsi worth? Like hundreds of billions, probably. No, again, I'm not, you know, familiar with the numbers, but
Probably. There's
like,
a lot of
I
brand
just,
recognition in it too. I don't even look at the logo when I drink it. I just drink it.
yeah, it's
Like,
like, hey, I'm
and
gonna
I
look at the
follow it.
logo because you know it's gonna kill me, quote unquote. You know, it's got so and so a carbonate of 15 grams, whatever. I don't know, but like, I'll say I don't know anyone. Like, I don't know why anyone would do that. Like, I have a friend that sometimes does that, but it's hilarious whenever I see him looking at the label. He's like, so is this thing going to kill me, or is it good for me? Well, it's not. So, but anyway. So Brianna, do you want to, you know, continue on those points?
Yeah, like some of their, you know, according to their media release, some of their benefits, they're all just talking about like the way their colors, their like the new design like helps their brand, but it's not really like doing anything like
Controversial.
specifically
Yeah.
like to help their brand. It's just like throwing out something more modern that will attract more people's attention.
Yeah. But it's like they're trying to create all this like public, like, you know, just backlash because apparently their brand's not big enough already. But again, like the amount of opinions I have about that is too much to talk about right now. But no, I do agree with you on those points. And you know, Jeff, do you want to make any other you know, contradicting points or anything?
No, you guys pretty much hit on all the parts I was going to speak about. So
Come on, Jeff, at least one.
Come on, give us at least one, Josh. Like, come on, you have to have something in there.
Talk about
I
the
really
unique
don't, man. I don't know.
updated color palette.
I don't know, man. I'm going blank right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
yeah.
I'll ask you, Jeff. Do you think? Because I don't think it does. But I want to know your opinion. The updated color palette. Apparently, they're saying that the contemporary edge to the classic Pepsi color, the new rebranding for the darker really is going to emphasize their Pepsi Zero in the future. I don't personally think that color really is going to do that, but do you think it's going to do that at all? Like changing the color to a darker color for Zero is going to help them? I don't think it's a tangible. Do you?
Um, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think they should just keep the two colors separate. To be honest with you, I think they should just not try to like mix them together. I guess the way that they're doing it, they should just keep the light blue for one product, and they can do whatever they want for the other products. But
Yeah, hey, you know what? Screw it. Hey, we're Pepsi. Let's make the whole thing red with the blue, outline, and then just put Pepsi in the middle. Why
And
the
even
hell
this
not? We're
even this
huge.
media release, it almost seems like they're bottlenecking themselves by saying that they're committing to the Pepsi Zero sugar in the future. So like they're kind of bottlenecking themselves instead of just saying this is our bread and butter and then we do other stuff on the side. They're trying to say that we'll be the Pepsi Zero and we'll be the best zero product out there, but why bottleneck yourself into something that's more expensive and harder to maintain?
I mean,
Yeah,
I'll say
like
I kind of agree with them trying to implement their zero brand more because I obviously their sales with that. Me working out as a cashier, the amount of Pepsi I see versus the zero is exponential. So I can compliment or I can commend them for wanting to get it better. But at the same time, I do agree with you that well, you summed up what I was going to say. So, but did you have a final point, Nathan?
yeah, so honestly, I think it's like all these like how Josh said they're all just like buzzwords that they're hitting on here. I think that there's always been a rivalry between Coke, like the actual Coke and Pepsi, not just their brands and what they sell under them, but them two pop specifically. I think they're just trying to get more people on or the people who are on that side more reason to continue being on their side, so they're not just drinking um, the same boring Pepsi, even though the flavor is all going to be the same forever.
Yeah, like if you blindfold me, I probably wouldn't even be able to tell the difference between the two. Maybe
Exactly,
like a
but
slight subtle
mhm.
difference, but no.
Yeah, exactly. But if you asked me, like, because I'm not a big cola flavor, which is like Pepsi and Coke. But if you asked me which one I probably drank more of, it's probably Coke, and they probably taste the exact same. So this is probably just a way for you to get your attention, a small amount of people from Coke to just Pepsi, even though they're pretty similar in taste,
Mhm.
just to gear some people away.
Yeah, and all great points. And I think I mean I don't think if Jeff, unless he wants to talk about one more thing that he might be able to say, which is probably nothing. So, but anyway, so the final question, we're finally on our last one. In terms of social media comments, should Pepsi be pleased or concerned, or should they ignore the social media, for all the different reasons? Now, I'm gonna start off this one. Me being familiar with social media like the rest of us, I think that listening to haters saying like this logo is completely atrocious and they should, not they should just put the old one back. I think that's kind of like not like why would you listen to them? Like their opinions do obviously matter, but if they're like 13-year-olds saying like we want the old logo, like how dare you do this, we're gonna riot again, it's like you're just trying to get spotlight. It's not gonna work. Just don't do it. But I've seen it too many times over the years. It never works. So, but anyway, Nathan, any more points?
Yeah, so when I'm comparing here, you got the positives and negatives. The negatives are almost, I'd say, more than half of the same. I prefer the 2000s. I like the old logo. I don't like it; doesn't look good. But if you look at the positives, it's a lot more variety in why they like it compared
Yeah,
to negatives, is saying they just don't like it because it's not the same. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the point of changing it because it's not the same. But then all the positives are saying why they like all the differences in the change
Yeah, like
because
where
it's
all the negative ones are like, you know what? Screw this logo. We hate this. And I'm sure there's probably one of them that says, "We hope Pepsi dies in a fire." I wouldn't be too surprised that some 10-year-old said that. But
mhm. The
no,
only one I agree with is the font one because I don't like the font either. It's just kind of like a big like block, like a sharp bolded font in a nice like curve circle. Just I don't like that, but all the other ones I kind of understand.
All right. So Josh, if you can, you want to say something, with all the energy
Oh
you have.
yeah. I don't know. I think maybe I disagree with you guys. I don't know, because for me, like, I'm reading these comments, and if these are negative cons that come back in social media comments, I would honestly be pretty impressed as a
Yeah,
digital
just
marketer
yeah.
on social media. I'd be impressed with myself, because these aren't honestly, like, one here, it says doesn't beat the 2000s logo, but it's modest improvement. I prefer the old one, but this one reminds me of the classic design. It's not bad. It's like a 2-year redesign, just like the original logo. Change the logo. This person just doesn't like Pepsi. Who cares? And the font's awful. Like, I don't know. Like, for me personally, if I was their marketing team, I would say this is a massive success. You don't have anybody
Yeah.
really bashing this. The only one that said seems like they just don't like Pepsi to begin with, and somebody who doesn't like change. You can't change people who don't like change. If you think it's better for your company to do it, do it. And this ain't backlash. This is honestly people just accepting it and moving on with their life. They're still going to drink Pepsi if they like it. So, in terms of should they be concerned? No.
No.
Should they ignore it? No. But there's really nothing to concern themselves with in terms of a comment. All seems up and up to me.
Yeah.
Seems like they're getting more
yeah.
attention. So
Yeah, it doesn't seem bad. It doesn't seem like anybody's really PO'd about it, other than the guy that just doesn't like Pepsi to begin with.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, so Brianna, any points you want to make?
I don't know. They're negative comments, but they're also like positive. Like,
Yeah,
doesn't
I'll
beat the
give you that one. I'll give
2000s
you that
logo,
one.
but it's a modest improvement. Like, it says it doesn't beat the 2000s logo, but it's improved.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's negative, but it's also positive.
I mean, like Jeff, do you at least have one point? I know. Do you want to have anything that you want to add?
Well, yeah. It was a mix of both positive and negative, which is a good thing. Obviously, if every single comment on the post was saying this logo sucks, maybe you're doing something wrong. But yeah, I
there's
mean,
at least one of
they
those in
can't
there.
really ask for there to be, no negative comments. I mean, you can go on any post from any brand on social media, and there's going to be people hating on it in the comments. But yeah, I think they should be, pleased overall with, the feedback they got. There's a lot of people that love it, and again, like you guys said, a lot of people are saying that, they're saying technically something negative. They're also saying it's an improvement. It's a little bit better.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I was Pepsi, I think I'd be pretty happy with the feedback I was getting through social media.
Yeah, and
Social
yeah, you know
media
what?
seems
I mean, I know I
justified.
said differently earlier, but I mean, I do agree with you on that one. I mean, I mean, I agree and I disagree, but I'm more on the I agree with you side. Because I mean, like even if Pepsi like sees these logos, like there are 10 of their executives are like, hey, we have such and such comments that are saying like, hey, you know what? They're negative, but they're trying to help make the brand better. And I mean, if I was Pepsi, if I was the CEO of Pepsi, I'd be like, hey, you know what? I'll take that. And on top of that, even the positive stuff, like, why would you not look at that? Like, it's positive. Like, they're telling you, like, hey, this is great. I love this. Keep doing this. But does anybody else have any final points they want to make?
Yeah, their media team. Their media team seemed to be trying to justify doing it, and then I think their comments just solidified that hey, it was a good idea, even though there's like honestly only 2 negatives out of the entire negative comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they did fine. I don't think they have to like shy away from looking at it. Like, hear them, but you don't have to make a drastic change just because they're saying one thing. Just hear it and understand it. And maybe just comment back and say, we appreciate your feedback. We'll take it into consideration in the next 120 years. I don't know how long they've been around. before they changed their
Yeah, if
logo,
somehow the company goes under, yeah.
but yeah, we'll take in consideration the next time we do our logo change, and that will be for probably a very long time. So it's a kind of
Yeah.
backhanded thing, but I think that's a good
Yeah,
way to go about it.
kind of.
I like the comment, the positive comment that says, "This screams personality. Well done, Pepsi."
Yeah, I know. I
Because
saw
I
that
feel
one
like a
and
lot
I'm
of
like,
people-
bro, like,
I feel
if
like a
that
lot of
isn't
people
like the most positive
agree.
thing that someone can say about the company, other than like this company is like Jesus Christ, like I don't know what is. Like, it's awesome.
I think a lot of people can do that because maybe I think a lot of people believe Pepsi was just kind of like the boring option based on their marketing. So I think they finally have some type of personality, and that comment kind of, I think explains it well.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I agree with you on that one.
Hmm.
Uh,
What's
you
our
know,
time
Jeff, do you want to
looking
make
like?
any final points, or Brianna?
No, that's all I got.
All right. Well, I could talk more, but at this point, I'll like all of us. I'm pretty tired, so I think on that we can end it. And great conversation, and I'd love to do this again with y'all. So yeah.
See ya.